Like, Mum, can you look from... I'll put it on FaceTime, but like, look under the bed for me, please. Hi everyone, welcome back to a new kind of video today. Today we're going to be stepping in a different subreddit and we're going to be looking at the subreddit, Am I the Arsehole? So let's just get right into it. Am I the arsehole for being angry that my roommate was sleeping under my bed for months without telling me? How does that even work? What? I, 24 male, have lived with my roommate Carl, 24 male, for 2 years. A few months into rooming with him, he told me he was pansexual. I said, okay, cool. I'm not interested in that personal information, nor am I judgmental. I said, alright. I guess it depends, right? If you have a flatmate, sometimes you might want to get really close to them and try and maybe become friends, or you can keep your distance. I feel like that's fine. A few times over the last year, he has asked me if I ever considered experimenting with other men. I said nope. And I also said I don't feel comfortable with him asking me such a personal question. Okay, that's fine, setting boundaries. It's not like we are close friends, we are only roommates by happenstance. Happenstance. Did I say that right? Anyway, every time I said this, he basically said, we'll see. I was like, what? Yeah, it's a bit of a dodge thing to say. Like, I would never enforce, like, my sexuality on someone or just be like, well... Even if you say you're not, well, we'll see. That gives kind of weird vibes. Anyways, last night I had a horrifying experience. I heard a noise under my bed. Oh my god, it's a monster. It was movement. At first I thought I was imagining things. I would shit myself. But then I heard it again. I thought, oh god, is it a mouse or a rat or some shit? I would probably think it's some kind of flipping ghost or the Grudge or something. My god, this was like 3 a.m. So I got out of bed and looked under with my phone flashlight. Dude, you're actually brave. And actually just like call my mum and be like, Mum, can you look from... I'll put it on FaceTime, but like, look under the bed for me, please. Now, this here was the most startling moment of my life. I guess I'm lucky because I have never before this moment felt true terror and fear as a physical sensation, but I was completely jolted. Oh my god. There under my bed was my roommate staring wide-eyed at me, and he screeched when I looked under the bed. What? Oh my god, I literally thought I was having a heart attack. I actually would have a heart attack too. Most of these accommodations or wherever you're living probably have locks on doors if you have your own room. Even if you don't have your own room, like, that's crazy. I'd actually flip out too, not gonna lie. I then just started hearing, sorry. Okay. Forgiven. My roommate crawled out from under the bed crying, apologizing over and over. I was so creeped out and afraid that I ran out of the apartment in my pajamas. Oh, bless yourself. There was a Dunkin' Donut that was open 24/7 a few blocks away, so I just sat in there with a decaf and a breakfast sandwich with my heart thundering away. Oh. My roommate kept texting me asking to talk. I ignored it. In the text he found a way to horrify me even further. He confessed he had been sleeping under my bed a few nights a week for 3 or 4 months. How is that even comfortable? I can barely fall asleep in my own bed, let alone on the floor underneath someone else's. And that he was doing it to get closer to me and physically saturate each other. The fuck? The fuck indeed. Oh my god. I waited for him to go to work and I ran into the apartment and got my essentials and left. I'm currently crashing with a buddy. Our lease is up in 1 month. My intention is simply to not renew. God damn. This dude is blowing up my phone. And I'm getting texts from other people. Some friends of mine and some bozos who are friends with him. He is going around telling people I shamed him and that I am rejecting his apologies. Some people are claiming I'm overreacting and invalidating his feelings. Most people agree he was improper, but think I should work it out with him and give a second chance because he's sensitive. I feel like I'm losing my mind and I'm seriously 20% convinced I'm experiencing a long lucid dream of some sort and wondering if I'm going to wake up or I'm in a coma or something because this shit is so insane to me. Like, not really, but maybe really? I mean, what the fuck? So am I the asshole or is everyone around me a fucking nut? Hold up just a second. Let's unpack here. That is weird to say the least. Also, yes, I don't think you are... First of all, let me just say... Not the arsehole indeed. But another thing I want to say is people are saying that he should give him a second chance because his roommate is sensitive. Now, sensitive is a really interesting word because I don't think being sensitive is a bad thing at all. But just because you're sensitive doesn't mean that you can't face consequences for when you've done something wrong. It just might mean, hey, you might feel a little bit more strongly about those and you might get a little bit upset, which just seems like what your flatmate has done, right? He seems to be very upset about it. But you know what? He should be. This is like Not okay. He should not have been doing this at all. It's a complete violation of privacy, especially if he was doing something weird under your bed. Like if he was like touching himself or something, that is not okay in the slightest way. What might have happened is that he might have lied to his friends and people, saying that what he did actually wasn't the true story, or he might not be given the full story of what he was actually doing down there. So that's probably why they're thinking you might be being a bit harsh. But even then, like, what the hell? Like, no, absolutely in no way are you in the wrong for this. I'm just confused as to why. Like, that's not comfortable. But I'm just thinking about comfortable. I'm like, I love my bed. I can't not imagine sleeping on the floor underneath someone else's bed. Like, how do you breathe? Someone said, dude is not mentally stable and you need to get out of there. Sound like he ended up wearing your skin or some shit to physically saturate with you. It's definitely true. I definitely think he might have some problems that he needs to resolve. I don't know. He needs to get some help for sure, but you are definitely not in the wrong for wanting to get out there as soon as possible. I wouldn't even feel comfortable going back there for another month, to be honest. I would probably try and bunk with someone else. Someone also said he also needs to drop those mutual friends. If they heard that story and the response was just give him a chance to what? Make you into a lampshade? Yeah, that's weird. Oh, but as I was saying, it could be that those friends weren't given the full story, and so they might have a different perception of what actually happened. But even so, you said you weren't close friends, but you have mutual friends. I don't know how close this friendship group is, but yeah, either way, be safe, run away. If you talk to them friends and you explain the full story and they're still, especially like, just give them a chance, then yeah, no way. But like, you can come sleep on my bed and have him sleep underneath you. Like, Someone else has said, what the actual ever-living mother have mercy little fuck is wrong with that man? Can't lie, you gotta get the authorities on this. You've probably been molested in your sleep by him without you knowing. He's probably drugged you before and you have no recollection. That man needs to be put in jail. Pansexual my ass, he's just a rapist and a molester. Not the asshole. I hope you're good, but go to the hospital and to the authorities. Get some evidence of him admitting to doing it clearly in text or recording. If your country and or in the US state allows for one person to record without consent from other parties. You know what? This is a really interesting comment because I don't think him being like pansexual has anything to do with this, but it did always seem weird how he was trying to kind of force his sexuality on you in some sense and encouraging you to do things with him. That was always a bit dodge. And yeah, I don't know if he's gone that far in molesting you in your sleep, drugging you, all that kind of things. It's really hard like to tell because if this has been happening for months and you didn't know, it's so dodge. Yeah, it's crazy how this might be the first time you're realizing it. If everything else about him was okay, as in like you never thought he was drugging you, there was no chance he could drug you, things like that, then I don't know if he actually would do that to you. But honestly, I can't tell. There's not enough information. I can't tell the kind of person that this guy is. Do get checked out. I hope you're okay and I hope you're safe now. But definitely, you could definitely get the authorities on this. That is not okay. So I hope you're in a safer place right now and he's not doing that to someone else because that's not okay. Okay, on to the next one. Am I the asshole for expecting my girlfriend to pay rent in my flat? This is a touchy subject as well because I always feel like this one is so dependent on circumstances. So let's see what's happening. A little backstory. We are together around 4.5 years. Wow. And because I finished my master's last year, I moved into her flat 10 months ago without being able to bring 85% of my personal things due to the size. Where did they go? Did they go back to like your parents' house or something? For which she's paying around €600, and after offering to pay half, we instead agreed I would just pay more for groceries and other things instead of having to pay half for the flat, which I did. Pay for dinner dates, pay for whole vacation abroad, groceries, etc. That sounds like a mega deal, not gonna lie. You're not having to pay rent, but you're paying for like groceries. Okay, I understand vacations abroad might be quite expensive, but honestly, that sounds like a very nice deal for you. Now the issue. I, 26 male, purchased a flat this summer. Handy dandy. In addition to almost all my savings, I took out a loan for which I am paying €1,300 a month without utilities. Currently, there are still renters in the flat, so I can cover my repayments with the rent I am receiving. Okay. In February, I am planning to move into the flat with my girlfriend, 27 female of 4 years. What? Wait, I thought you were together for 4.5 years. So I'm planning to move into the flat with my girlfriend, 27 female of 4 years, and paying off the loan will put more financial strain on me due to the lack of rent. Okay. However, there has been some discussion as she does not want to pay rent once we move into the flat, but just wants to cover utilities, about €300 per month. In her opinion, paying me rent is like paying off my loan without receiving an equity. I can see where this is getting a bit interesting now. I'm saying she's already doing that anyway by renting a place from a stranger, and her actual cost wouldn't much exceed what she's paying already for the current flat. With utilities, at most, she would pay 750 euros. That is like double what she's paying for just the utilities. However, my flat compared to hers is about double the size, is much newer with much better amenities, and all in all a much better place to live together. If I hadn't purchased it, we would have had to look for a similar place to rent anyways, with prices ranging between 1,300 and 1,800 euros, as the current living situation was me living in her flat, not an actual shared flat we moved into together, and I've not been able to take a lot of stuff into her place due to a limited space. In her opinion, I would exploit her if I take rent from her, as I am using that money to pay my loan without her getting any benefit, and she does not want to pay anything apart from utilities, and then have a shared expenses account where we both pay money into it and pay for groceries, household things, etc. I get the point she is making, but at the same time I feel like I'm getting used if I let her move into it without paying rent. So am I the arsehole for expecting rent from her? Any advice on how to deal with the situation, as any talk about it ends up in a discussion/fight? I think it's that last sentence there which kind of shows me where your priority's at. At the same time, I feel like I'm getting used if I let her move into it without paying rent. Your girlfriend is not a tenant. She's not living there freely. She doesn't owe you anything if she stays at her place. I think you're forgetting you got quite a handy dandy reasonable deal when you went to go stay with her. She took you in when you didn't have a place, and you living there, being able to not pay rent, and I know you still paid groceries, dinner dates, which okay, dinner dates compared to 600 euros rent a month, all that kind of stuff, you probably were able to save up during that process in order to buy the property you have now. Now, she's not saying she's not going to pay anything. I think she's still contributing quite a lot. She's covering utilities. Even then, if you want to maybe increase that in a sense where she could then instead help pay for groceries, dinner dates, contribute more to vacations, that kind of thing, similar to what you did beforehand, then I think that's a reasonable request. But asking her to pay rent just to pay rent, I don't know. I don't see what the major point is that is. I mean, I'm all for helping. If she can help you out, then help you out. But I think your principle there for wanting her to pay rent, just so you're not feeling used, that kind of sounds a bit dodgy to me. Especially with 4 and 4.5 year length relationships, this is getting obviously very serious. This is more than just someone staying over for free. I think here it's just very contradictory. You didn't pay any rent and she helped you out. You were probably using her then. So now you're complaining when she's doing the same to you. She's not even doing the same to you. She's paying probably more to you right now than you were paying to her back then. And all these things about space, etc. I understand it's a bigger place, but hey, she already had that place previously and you moved in with her and she helped take you in despite what was happening. It probably wasn't easy for her anyway as well, living in a one person area and accommodating to two in such a small space. That can also be very difficult. So yeah, you know what, I'm gonna say you're the asshole. I just think it's rude, kind of borderline rude, to see your partner as using you if they're not paying rent. And not even rent, but it's the fact that, yeah, she's actually not getting anything from it because you've bought the property. Someone said, why can't she pay utilities and groceries like you are in her apartment? If it was fair to you, why isn't it fair for her? Say it out loud. Even if she, okay, maybe just utilities, but as I was saying earlier, like groceries or extra things, I'm sure she'll be happy to contribute in that way. But you did the same thing, hun. Someone else said, I think the discussion about equity is kind of silly. When she's paying rent from a landlord, she isn't getting anything out of it. However, you've been together for quite a few years, made a large investment, and only now the discussion of how she would move in with you is coming up. Yeah, I agree, that is a bit weird, it's a bit dodgy. You stayed with her rent-free for 10 months. Do you think you were using her? Why not budget together? Instead of talking about equity, actually talk about what can be afforded. Presumably her income and her budgeting for a flat for 600 groceries, etc. What does your income and budget allow for? Did you purchase this property under the agreement that you would be splitting the cost of the mortgage, or did you assume? You guys probably should have had this conversation together as well. Have you both discussed the actual cost of utilities and what she wants to contribute to household expenses? Her not wanting to pay rent could be perfectly reasonable if she still plans on contributing in other ways. The same you did for nearly a year. Exactly what we were saying. At the end of the day, it's money in and money out. If you want to do 50-50 or in accordance to who makes more money, etc., there is no wrong or right way. Just the way that you two feel good with. And if you can't find one, do not live together. You feeling like you are getting used needs to be figured out for sure. Do you see her as someone who is using you? Do you want a transactional relationship with your girlfriend? Do you see a future with her? I think that's an important note as well, because we're talking about, hey, this idea of you feeling used is obviously a big problem, but maybe there's something else going on in the relationship then. Are you feeling like this is transactional? Is there a reason you're feeling like she's using you? Because if we're going to go purely based on the idea of paying rent, then yeah, you were using her for like nearly a year. So it's not quite adding up. There's definitely something more there. That's why I was saying earlier, these things are so dependent on the context of your situation. Like, someone might be earning so much more than the other person. In that case, it will make more sense to split things a different way. Not everything has to be 50-50. So yeah, do you see a future with her? Also, I'm surprised you guys haven't talked about this before, especially when you've already bought a property. I would have thought you would have talked about buying a property and see what could have been done. I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of information that's just either not been spoken about yet or not been provided here, so it's a little bit dodge. Someone else commented, not the arsehole. Offer her the option of paying you rent, or she stays in her apartment alone and pays for everything. Then you can get a roommate to cover the rent. This way she has a choice and can see the benefit of sharing with you. The benefit. What about the benefit of her sharing with him for like a year? I feel like people are forgetting that she did that willingly and literally didn't force him to pay rent at all. I think it's fine to come up with the idea of, hey, if you want someone who's going to help pay the rent, then yeah, maybe it's not best to move in right now. Let her stay in her apartment and do that idea. Get someone to rent out, but not because of, oh, wait until she sees the benefits of sharing with you and then she'll be begging to come and live with you. I don't think that's the right mindset to go about it. It'd be like, hey, if you want the money, then do it that way, or just don't live together, because it seems like you guys are not on the same page financially in terms of your principles. So have a conversation, talk about it, but yeah. Interesting. Okay, last one. Am I the arsehole for telling an American woman she wasn't German? Oh, this is just going to be really funny, I can tell, and I am here for it. I'm a German woman, as in born and raised in Germany. I was traveling in another country and staying at a hostel, so there were people from a lot of countries. There was one woman from the US, and we were all just talking about random stuff. We touched the topic of cars, and someone mentioned that they were planning on buying a Porsche. Fancy. The American woman tried to correct the guy, saying, you know that's wrong, it's actually pronounced Porsche. How else wait, am I pronouncing it wrong? Is it not Porsche? I just chuckled and said, no, he actually said it right. She just snapped and said, no, I'm German, okay? Can I try and do an American accent? No, I'm German, okay? Was that an American accent? Did I? Nah, fuck it, I'm fumbling. I'm just a British girl. I know how it's pronounced. I'm really good at accents, apparently, guys. So even if that doesn't sound American, I promise you I'm actually really good at accents. I switched to German. I have a very natural New York accent, so maybe she hadn't noticed I was German, and told her, you know that's not how it's pronounced. Oh, I don't know why you had to switch language for that, but okay. She couldn't reply and said, what? I repeated in English, and I said, I thought you said you were German. She said, I'm German, but I don't speak the language. I asked if she was actually German or if her great-great-great-grandparents were German, and she said it was the latter. So I told her, I don't think that counts as German. Sorry. And he pronounced Porsche correctly. Oh my god, all this over a flipping Porsche. She snapped and said I was being an elitist and that she was as German as I am. I didn't want to take things further, so I just said okay and interacted with other people. Later on, I heard from another guy that she was telling others I was an asshole for correcting her and that I was a damn Nazi trying to determine who's German or not? Why did she react so heavily? Was it actually so offensive to tell her she was wrong? This is an interesting one. I think it wasn't flipping Porsches. I don't even know. I'm questioning. Am I saying it right? Am I saying Porsche wrong? I can't tell anymore. Okay, the whole thing about people's backgrounds, I think it's a really interesting topic. And it really varies from people to people. Some people it's very sensitive. Some others don't really care. I know personally, a lot of people try to tell me where I'm from. And it really bugs me because I know my background. I know where my family's from. I know where I'm from. And people try and tell me otherwise as if they know better. And that really bugs me because I do get that sense of feeling like, hey, shut the fuck up. Leave me alone. You're not like better than me. So stop telling me who I am. Even if her great-great-great grandparents were German, maybe, I don't know, the timeline dates a little bit closer to her. I'm not sure. I don't know. Who knows if she's German or not? We will never know. But one thing I know for sure is that you don't necessarily need to speak the language in order to be from there. And I know many people who don't know the language of where they're from. So I don't think that alone can determine whether she's actually German or not. What I think it is her saying that it's more that her great grandparents were German. But even then, you don't know, right? I don't think it was your place to correct her and be like, well, that doesn't mean you're German. Because respectfully, I don't know if that's enough information to tell if she's German. I feel like if she said, well, my parents are from here, I'm from here, and she gave you her whole background and history, then yeah, you can maybe tell her, like, look, you're not actually German. But I just think it's one of those things that it causes more harm to correct someone when you don't know the full story than, go off assumptions and just say that. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I just think I'm absolutely fine with the Porsche thing. Tell her she's saying it wrong for all the days, every day. Tell her she's saying it wrong every single day. It's not that. I think what was touchy was talking about her background. And personally, I think you didn't need to say it. It didn't need to be mentioned. So is it offensive to tell her she was wrong? Well, tell her she was wrong about what? Being the Porsche or the German? But I think the title saying that is you wrong for telling her she wasn't German, I think I'm probably going to be told off here. But I'm going to say everybody sucks here because that woman shouldn't have made that comment, right? A damn Nazi trying to determine who's German or not. That was definitely not the right phrasing, and therefore she's definitely in the wrong for that. But I also think you might suck a tiny weeny little bit just because I think it was just unnecessary. I don't necessarily think it's offensive, but I also don't think you know her history fully, and to kind of make that claim is I just don't think it needed to be done. But hey, let's see what other people have to say about it. Absolutely not the arsehole. She was embarrassed to have been corrected. Some people can't stand it, even if they are first correcting others. Yep, I can see where this comes from. I don't know if they're talking about the Porsche thing again or being German, because I understand the Porsche thing she absolutely wasn't wrong about. Like, she was fine correcting her. It was just the assumptions on her background that I think was a bit dodge. Someone else said, not the arsehole, you corrected her in a calm way and her overreaction seems more about her own insecurities than what you said. Claiming distant heritage doesn't make someone an expert, and you pointing that out clearly struck a nerve. Her response was over the top, and it's not your fault she couldn't handle being wrong. I agree. I agree with what everyone is saying. I agree with what everyone is saying here. I probably don't think that she's German too. I just don't think that we could just, I don't know, say to someone that then, I don't know. When I'm reading back at it, I realised that the person here who was telling the woman that she's not German didn't do it kind of for no reason. But it's this line here where the American lady was saying, oh, she snapped and said, no, I'm German, okay? I know how it's pronounced. And almost kind of using her heritage as kind of some kind of righteous way to think that she's right. So, okay, I might switch to not the arsehole here. But I still think my point stands, as in, if you're not sure or there's no concrete evidence on where someone's from, I just don't think it's necessary to comment on someone's background unless, like, it's provoked. So in this case here, yeah, she's really, really pushing for that German heritage. You kind of put her in her place. Even if it is distant, you don't know, but it does seem like she's kind of gotten confused a bit with maybe where she's from compared to distant heritage. But yeah, oh well, it's an unfortunate argument that's happened, and hopefully it can be avoided in future. Let me know what your thoughts are. Some of these were quite juicy and interesting. A bit of a mixed opinion on some of these. A bit of crazy stuff happening. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you all again very soon. Thank you for joining. Bye.